Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Drop, and this is my first impressions look on the Puma MB.02 Lo. So the Lo version has finally been released, and the MB.3 is gonna release in like 3 weeks. So I don't know why they took so long for the Lo version to release, just because I feel like people like low versions, you know, low tops better than mid tops and high tops. But it is $5 cheaper than retail. So the normal MB.2 right here is $130. And of course the Lo is $125. So woo, $5 cheaper, which is not that much of a difference. You know what I mean? It used to be like from high top to a low top, it used to be like a $10 difference, so I don't know. Anyways, if you guys do want to cop any of these shoes, MB1 Lo, MB1, MB2, and MB2 Lo, just because they're still kind of like on the website, like Puma.com, I'll try to leave an affiliate link in the description box, but let's get it started off with the tracciones, and of course the traction is exactly the same as far as the pattern goes, right? And we can see here in this colorway of the MB2 that I have, it's a translucent outsole, it's a translucent rubber, and it says rare right here, right? Here in the Lows, it's just a regular, it has kind of like a pattern on it as far as the color goes, but for the most part, it's a solid rubber outsole, right? But it's pretty much the same as the MB1 to the MB1 Lo, right? So you guys remember the MB1, the traction was actually really good with this translucent for me in my personal experience. And then of course the MB1 Lo came out with this solid white rubber outsole, and usually, right? Usually solid rubber counterparts, right? The solid rubber outsole version of outsoles or colorways is better than the translucent, right? But for Puma, for some reason, the solid rubber outsole is not as good as the translucent, right? This one had really good traction. This one just was sliding all over the place and never had a good bite even on a clean court, right? So that's what it kind of feels like right now here in the MB2 Lo, right? I haven't really played in these yet, but just trying it on my wood floors, it doesn't seem like it has a great bite. And also there's no squeak, which of course, that doesn't really matter for performance. However, I like to have a little bit of squeak, you know what I mean? The MB2 has a nice loud high-pitched squeak and a very, very good bite. So of course, I'm gonna need to play in the solid rubber outsole version and see how the traction is. Hopefully it's not as bad as the MB1 Lo, because the MB1 Lo was absolutely horrendous. But the MB2 Lo, it still seems like it has an okay stop though. Like on my wood floor, it seems like it has an okay stop, but just not as good as the translucent version of the MB2, right? So I'll give you guys a little update once I do play in these, but there is the traction there. Also, the rubber like is super duper soft, so it doesn't seem like it's gonna be good at all for outdoor use, just like in the regular MB2, right? It's a very, very soft rubber. Do not play with it outside. So there is a durability there. And also we have the outsole curvature, pretty much the same as the regular MB2. Not as much, of course, as the MB1. The MB1 had a very, very curved shape. It's kind of started from the middle of the outsole, like right here. Here in the MB2, right, the MB2 Lo and the MB2 is the same. It kind of starts more like right here, a little bit more closer to the edge of the shoe, like on the medial side, just like in the more older Kyries, like the Kyrie 5, 6, and 7, and also the Infinity and the 8. The Kyrie 2, 3, and 4 is kind of more similar to the MB1, where it's very, very curved, right? So it's still nice, you know, you have rubber coming up here on the medial side, so you get better grip when you're doing these types of movements as well. So that feels nice. And heel to toe transition feels exactly the same as the regular MB2, right? So you have a good amount of compression here in the heel. You have a nice rounded shape, even though it is kind of caged. It's still really soft here in the heel, and then here in the forefoot we have a curved shape and a good amount of forefoot flex, right? So overall, I feel like it'll be just like the MB2. Feels very, very similar. I mean, the outsole and the midsole is pretty much the same as the regular MB2. It's just this is a solid rubber and this is a translucent, right, which can affect performance. As far as the cushioning setup goes, it's the exact same as well, right? So here in the heel it says nitro infused, right? And it says nitro infused here in the regular MB2. So yeah, it's a nitro infused midsole, and it feels exactly the same. It has a good amount of compression, especially here in the heel. It's super duper soft. It's not super bouncy though. Nitro foam really isn't that bouncy. It's more soft. It's great for impact protection. It's good for comfort. Also, another thing that I love about Puma shoes are the insoles. The insoles are super duper thick, you know what I mean? So the step-in comfort and underfoot cushioning is great when you first get the shoe. However, once you keep playing in the shoe, it does bottom out. You know, insoles tend to bottom out, and it doesn't get as nice, and the stroke board is actually pretty damn stiff underneath the insole, but when you first get it, it's really, really comfortable, right? As far as the core feel goes, same as the MB2, it's not the best, you know. I wouldn't say it's terrible, but also it's not great for core feel. But overall, I do like the cushioning setup, right? And now moving on to the material. So the material is pretty much the same as well, right? If you look at like a close-up shot, it's very, very similar, right? It feels pretty much exactly the same, right? I would say the MB2, the regular MB2, or this colorway that I have, it feels a little bit more like a little bit stiffer, I would say, and a little bit more plasticky, but still they're both very plasticky feeling. So they both feel pretty cheap, right? It feels kind of flimsy, and if you guys hear it, you know, it doesn't sound the best either, you know what I mean? But on foot, it feels good. You know, it's thin, it's minimal, it conforms to your foot overall pretty well. There's no pinching. It's super duper supportive too, and ventilation is pretty damn good. One difference, however, is that the fuse, there's a little bit more fuse here in the toe box for the regular MB2, right? You see a little bit more kind of like pattern here. In the low version, there's really nothing, and that's pretty much it. Also, this colorway that I have is super shiny for the fuse, which I really didn't like. But yeah, but it's pretty much the same exact material. And then for the tongue is a little bit different, right? We have the pretty much the same exact material from the toe box to the tongue here in the MB.02 Lo. But here in the regular MB2, we have like a mesh material for the tongue, you know, so it's a different material. And then for the tongue, like the actual tongue here, it's like the same amount of padding. It's well padded. It feels nice and comfortable on top of your foot. And also they're both half booty construction tongues, giving you a better overall one-to-one fit. And then as far as the heel padding goes, I would say the MB2, like the regular version, has a little bit more padding, especially like on the sides of the shoe, like right here. And then the Low has a little bit less padding, right? Especially here on the side. So I guess there is a little bit of a difference there. But for the most part, it feels very similar. And also this is the, I guess like Lamelo cereal colorway, like Lamelos. And that's what they said. So we have a picture of Lamelo here on the tongue, and then we have a picture of like a cereal on the other shoe, which is, I guess, that's pretty cool, right? And then the heel counter is pretty much the exact same as well. You know, we have the one of one kind of like design, and then it says Mellow here, but obviously this is lower because it is a low top, right? All right, moving on to the fit. So I did go up half a size, right? And it actually fits me pretty much the exact same as the MB2 going up half a size, right? So I feel like if I went true to size with the MB2 Low, it would have been way too tight, right? I went true to size for the regular MB2 and it fits me really well. It's a snug fit. My toe goes pretty much right to the edge of the shoe. It's slightly narrow as well. And then the MB2 Low, I went up half a size and it fits me extremely well too. My toes go pretty much right to the edge of the shoe. It's slightly narrow and it's a pretty snug fit here in the toe box. So for most people, if you want like a pretty snug fit, I would suggest going up half a size. If you want a super snug fit, just be careful. But if you do want a super snug fit, then just go true to size. If you have a wide foot or you want a roomy fit, probably go up a full size, just because I went up half a size with the MB2 Low and it fits me really well. So there is the fit there. As far as the support and lockdown, it feels like it'll be the exact same as the regular MB2, right? I had no issues with lateral containment and all that. You know, this material is very fused, right? Super supportive. We have this external heel counter, as also we have an internal TPU heel counter too for both of these shoes. Also, another thing that I didn't mention is this is a two-piece upper, right? So you can see underneath the fuse, you can see the stitching, right? That puts these two parts of the material together, right? So we have one on the lateral side and also on the medial side right over here, right? The MB2, it doesn't have any seams. You know, it looks like just a one-piece upper. So there is a little bit of a difference there. It doesn't really make that big of a difference, honestly, though. So there is that. As far as the weight goes, obviously the MB2 Low is gonna be lighter because it is a low top, right? But I guess I did go up half a size, but it's like a very similar fit. So I wonder what the weight difference is going to be. So 13.45 ounces for the Low, and then the regular version is 13 ounces. Wow, that's interesting. Let's check the other shoe. 13.8? Wait, 13.8 and 13.45? That's a huge difference in weight. Not a huge difference, but 0.4 ounces is actually pretty significant. And then 13 ounces for the regular MB2. What the? So the regular MB2 is lighter somehow for some reason? It has to be like maybe the half size up, but like I said, the fit is pretty much the exact same. So I don't know, that's pretty crazy. But anyways, there is the weight there. I mean, honestly, you know, Lamelo's shoes have always been pretty damn heavy. Like the MB1 is pretty heavy too. It's like 13.2 ounces. Let's check the MB1 Low. Yeah, 13.6 ounces. So the average weight of my shoes is around 12 and a half ounces. So I mean, I wish it would go under like 12 and a half, like maybe even 12 ounces. But yeah, it doesn't feel bulky or anything, of course, but it's not super light feeling, you know what I mean? As far as the aesthetics go, I mean, this colorway looks great. I really like this gray, like it's white, and I also love this wolf gray color, you know, for the fuse. And then it just goes really well with this green color too. I'm not a huge fan of the mellow cartoon picture here on the top. I think that's kind of weird. But overall, this colorway looks great, and it's literally the exact same look as the regular MB2, but just the low version. Look, right? There's not that big of a difference in aesthetics, right? Yeah, it's pretty much the exact same. So, what do you guys think looks better though? I don't know. Also, honestly though, the MB2 didn't really have great, you know, ankle support. It's just a mid top. You know, it didn't really restrict ankle movement that much either. So I don't really know why they made a low version, but they did, you know. So there's that. So wrapping things up, yeah. So it feels pretty much the same as the MB1 to the MB1 Lo, especially with the traction. Hopefully the traction doesn't suck though. We'll have to see. Again, I'll give you guys a little update once I do play in these and give it a full run through. But also, I mean, one thing that I really didn't like about the MB1 Lo, however, is the heel slippage. It was a lot of heel slippage for me. There was no heel slippage here in the regular MB1, but the MB1 Lo, I had a good amount, right? So we'll have to see it on the MB2 Lo, but it feels like it has pretty good heel containment, so I don't really have to worry about that. So it feels pretty much the exact same as the regular MB2. It's just a low version, right? So there's less material, I guess, on your, or no material on your ankle bone. And again, we'll have to see on the traction. So anyways, that about wraps it up. That was like my detailed look and review of the MB2 Lo, and also comparing it to the MB2. Again, if you guys do want to cop any of these shoes, I try to leave the free link in the description box. But that's it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.